Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the It Doesn't Matter podcast. And we've got myself, Strapfax John. We've got Poppy Plano. We've got the notorious one, Dom. And we're here to talk about... Boom. That's what we're doing. We're here to talk about head-to-head for the first time, I believe, Impact. TNA Impact Wrestling going head-to-head against WWE Monday Night Raw, January 4th, 2010. It was a big deal. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff signed with TNA. They're going to kick the WWE's rear end. And this is the first show, Monday night, that they're going face-to-face. And there were two sides to this war. And you know what? I chose today. WWE. And our fellas here, hey, yo, Poppy Platino and the notorious one, Dom. Boom. They're going to be in charge of reviewing TNA Impact for January 4th, 2010. So, Dom, what do we got going on? Head-to-head, TNA versus WWE.
This was a significant night in professional wrestling. Everybody knows that Monday night is the night for wrestling, and we have a head-to-head again. And on the WWE side, this is the night when Bret Hart, he came back home. This is what this show is known for. So, John, tell us about Bret making his return to, Monday Night Raw.
I mean, this was a very big deal because everyone knows about the Montreal Screwjob in 1997. And we all know also, in a separate topic but a relevant topic, the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD, the top-selling DVD, or one of the top-selling DVDs in 2005. I freaking loved that DVD. It was so awesome. Everyone just ragging on the Ultimate Warrior, But that was used as proof of what WWE can do to your legacy. I mean, Ultimate Warrior didn't really have many friends in the business, but you can, as judging by his 2014 Hall of Fame induction, you can change it to whatever you want it to be. Okay, so he even, made amends with Hulk Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter. Until, unfortunately, he passed away within days of that happening. Really sad. And Ultimate Warrior remains a controversial figure. But anyway, his DVD, The Self-Destruction, kind of scared the pink and black off of Bret Hart, because Bret Hart is a guy who's really careful about his legacy, handcrafts it. So at the time when releasing DVDs were a big thing, and considering what's going on in Netflix and Peacock today, where digital archives are just disappearing, physical media may be back stronger than ever. Isn't that right, Dom? Just look at your background.
That's right.
So Bret Hart was making his, they had this head-to-head. Bret Hart was to combat TNA going prime time. So somehow they arranged for Bret Hart to make a comeback on this show. No one knew what was going to happen. And the show began with, their usual teaser and, of course, a little video package with Bret the Hitman Hart. And man, we've been teased with this before. I mean, in years prior, they're trying to pump up their CD, the anthology CD of all the theme songs of all the wrestlers over the years. Yep. And they played this in Canada. Okay, so it's during, a commercial break, before, after a commercial break. You hear the Bret Hart guitar, and like, people are like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, it's a crummy commercial for the WWE anthology CD set, So I know Poppy Plano has that in his collection there somewhere.
I did.
I know you're listening to the Bushwhackers over and over again.
Oh my God. You know what? Now that I have a son, maybe I'll put on the Bushwhackers for him just to give him some ha-ha every now and then, but...
First Bushwhacker reference in 2025. Here we go. So kick it off.
It.
Pour one out.
And that's not even the tag team I got on my socks today.
Oh.
I have...
Pro Wrestling Crate. Coming soon.
Thank you. I have the Legion of Doom. Look at my socks.
Damn it, if Poppy Plano spreads his legs on the show one more time, we'll be booted off Riverside. But back to live action. So, the opening segment here is they go to a live shot of the arena, which is the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. I remember that, as many people do. And for Bret Hart especially, the Nutter Center. And I believe we saw a glimpse of that just 5 seconds ago, Abel. Where'd that blur come from? No idea. Woo!
Oh,
One blur. 2 balls. Okay. What's
Whenever
going
you go
on?
to Netflix, I'm going. Rated at.
Why is he hitting himself? We want to know. So, Justin Roberts is there. The dapper yapper, Justin Roberts. He's there. He gives a big introduction to Bret the Hitman Hart. Of course, it starts with that big guitar riff, you know. And it's a remix, you know, because he's not the same old Excellence of Execution. He's an older, gentler Hitman. And there's a little bit of a delay, but there he is. He shows up. He's got his sunglasses, and he's got, you know, streaks of gray in his brown hair. And he's wearing dark jorts, not to climb on the gimmick of John Cena. But here he comes, and he's got a nifty T-shirt with the Hitman skull design, and you can see many fans in the crowd probably the best-selling T-shirt until CM Punk's Best in the World T-shirt a year and a half later.
2-3 years later, yeah.
Yeah, very soon. He comes in, and there he is, and he wants to talk to someone in particular, and that's the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And my memory is different than what I watched just now, which is why it can be important to watch these shows back. Even if you saw them, even if you have a memory of it, it's probably not what you remember. Because I don't remember Shawn. The first thing I thought Shawn did was come out and hug Bret. That did not happen. Shawn, you know, respectfully, you know, said a few words to Bret, getting some things off his chest, because, you know, we're here sympathizing with Bret 12 years later at the time, but, you know, a lot has been put on Shawn Michaels' chest as well. I mean, was it deserved? Yeah, he was at fault. He did things. So did Vince. So did lots of people, Triple H. But Bret, you know, they offered a truce to each other to bury a hatchet. They shook hands. Shawn Michaels stepped aside, looked like he was going to do the side sweet chin music like he's been known to do, Hulk Hogan and the many others. But instead he went back for a hug, and they hugged it out, bitch. That's what they did. And Shawn left, you know, wearing his big goofy DX attire, you know, the DX Army. Look up that history. Oh, boy. That's right. And then Bret decided to call out Vince McMahon, who doesn't have anything to apologize for. I can't think of a damn thing. But Vince did not come out. But that was that ended the segment there. And Bret Hart was there. He was active. He looked good. He smelled good. And he made a good first impression back in the WWE universe after such a very long absence.
Yes, and after that, he came to the Crystal Mall that was still intact, and I met him. Got my autograph and picture with Bret the Hitman Hart. So I'll be posting that after this episode drops.
Damn right.
Together?
No.
Were you guys together? No?
Separate.
We
was there, but yeah, he
yeah.
separate pictures.
Yeah.
Bret looked beat up.
Yeah, he looked like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
No, that's just how he looks. That's his look. I mean, Bret Hart was one of my favorites to meet in person, but unfortunately, he wasn't doing photos. So I have a great autograph on the Jakks Classic Superstars Series 1. I bought that when they first came out, and you know, some jagoff in line says, "Look, once they sign it, it loses value." I'm like, motherfucker, it gains value if he signs it to me. Dipshit.
Oh man,
Loser.
All right, let's get back to Raw. So my girl Melina, she was out for several months with a leg injury. So they have this Divas Championship tournament taking place. So, our first match is Maurice versus Brie Bella?
That's right. And Brie and Nikki Bella still have yet to figure out how to do their butt bump gimmick on the top of the stage. And this is still at a time when you could not tell which one was Brie and which one was Nikki, even though the discernible eye could tell. But this was before Nikki got, before she started smuggling cantaloupes in her bosoms. And Maurice looking like $1 million. She's definitely awesome because she did not fall for the twin magic. She was very aware of them doing the swapperoo, so she actually pinned Nikki Bella, but they did not reverse the decision. But as she's walking up the ramp, out comes her future husband, Mike, my voice hasn't evolved yet, Ms. Annan, the current, at that time, United States champion. So as Maurice was leaving, winning her tournament slot, here comes The Miz sitting ringside to gaze over another number one contender qualifying match with a couple notable people. Four notable people, that is. Dom?
MVP, Mark Henry, Carlito, and Jack Swagger.
Whew.
Wow.
I mean, just think about it at the time. Jack Swagger, he was going to win the World Heavyweight Money in the Bank and the World Heavyweight title within 2 months of this appearance. Wait, actually, no, 3 or 4 months of this appearance. It was going to be a big year for him, and then Vince McMahon sucked the life out of him. No lawsuit there. Mark Henry and an MVP would become a tag team eventually that year. They would both fight each other to be who could be the Kool-Aid man first, wearing that giant red attire. And Carlito just being thrown in there because he was a former United States champion after he stabbed John Cena in a nightclub. Oh, wait, that was the other guy. Hector. His name wasn't Hector. I forgot his name. He was in Lucha.
Yeah.
He was in Wrestling Society. There was no Lucha Underground yet. He was in Wrestling Society X, which was on MTV. That was a fun show. But yeah, Carlito was in there. Totally out of place. He's wearing those windbreaker pants. This is like depressed, I hate my life Carlito at this time of his career. But I believe MVP won the match here with a very sloppy playmaker or play of the day, whatever he calls that move, the overdrive Randy Orton used to use it as. Yep. So MVP is the new number one contender for the United States Championship.
Yes. All right. Well, our next match, we have a tag team match. We have the WWE Unified Tag Team Champions, which is Triple H and Shawn Michaels with Hornswoggle taking on Jericho, Chris Jericho, and the Big Show.
I mean, they had a couple of backstage segments. Hornswoggle was the DX mascot for some reason, and Triple H was doing the skit with Hornswoggle, and Triple H was showing off the brand new series of Mattel action figures featuring guys like The Rock eventually, The Rock and Roman Reigns and Macho Man Randy Savage from Bash at the Beach 96 are always with me here in the studio. But Triple H was showing Hornswoggle the spread of new action figures, and Shawn Michaels comes in and says, "Why do you talk to him like he's a child? Like, he's not a child. He has a beard, for God's sake." And Hornswoggle's just like, And then
He still
Triple
wasn't
H,
talking at this time?
he still wasn't talking yet.
No, all right.
I think he does a rap down the road. I think around Christmas time. I think either that year or a couple years down the road, and then everyone's like, "What?" And then he just goes back to.
So Triple H says, "No, he's in here for match research." And he's like, "What does that mean?" So then Santino Marella makes an appearance, dressed up as Chris Jericho. He is the best in the world at whatever it is I do. And so then Hornswoggle beats Santino up behind the couch. Then he says, enough. And that's your backstage DX skit of the night, which led to this match with Jericho. And why do they always combine these damn belts, man? What?
it's terrible, man.
Vince never likes to pay tag teams anything, so he's a singles guy. I mean, I don't even get the point of even having tag team belts if you just don't want to pay two people at one time to. I mean, I get it. You're supposed to have, well, not even supposed to. You should have a tag team just to, be a part of wrestling. It's always been there, but if you don't want it, take it out of your company. Screw it. Do what you want. No one's gonna say nothing. You were the only show in town, really, to be honest.
Well, if you take care of them, they can be a draw, and they finally were. At one WrestleMania, at least.
With two singles guys.
You shut your mouth now.
You talking about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? Oh, man.
Yes.
I don't consider them two singles guys.
Are you serious?
Well, I mean, at least the
they have
Usos
chemistry.
were there, so.
They have chemistry, but their
history.
careers are more synonymous with being singles. I don't consider them tag team guys. Usos, even though main event Jay's doing his thing right now, to me their careers will always be linked together as tag team champs.
Yeah, nobody's gonna remember Big Jim. Big Jim.
The only person who can remember that is Naomi at night.
Oh my.
All right, Strap, get back to this match. What happened in this tag team match?
So for it was a match. I don't remember much about it actually, even though I very clearly remember the show a lot. But I believe if this was the Jericho's last opportunity at the championship, and I mean, I think what happened was I was watching this and I was like, wait a minute, hold on. And I looked at the WrestleMania there. I'm like, Chris Jericho faced Edge in the main event for the world title. What the hell happened? I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw Big Show in a tag team match on that pay-per-view or whatever. And that's probably what I was looking up while the match was taking place. So that's when The Miz and the Big Show were teaming together, known as Show Miz.
Show Miz, yeah.
Yeah, and they faced R-Truth and John Morrison for the tag team titles or something like that. But that's where my mind drifted off to during this match. But hey, Jericho, even though they had cool music, this was it for them. And Jericho, I guess he was a SmackDown guy, and because he was the unified champion, he was on both shows. And now that DX were the tag champs, they were also on both shows. And so that ended that for this time being. But yeah, so DX is out there. DX for the win. Sean, he was selling the appearance earlier of with the Hitman, but nothing came of it. And yeah, the DX retained the tag team unified championships.
All right. Well, after this, they show that next week they're going to have a special celebrity guest, and that special guest is Iron Mike Tyson.
Yes.
Was there a host for this episode?
Bret Hart. Oh. So Vince announces later, because he was okay. So there was Bret earlier. Bret called out Vince, but Vince no showed. So Josh Matthews had a backstage segment where he interviewed Vince entering his locker room, which was locked for some reason from the inside. No. So Vince was like, it's like, Mr. McMahon, what do you have to say about Bret Hart calling you out? Vince is like, I was just in a meeting. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Well, Bret Hart doesn't call out Vince. I'll call him out later. So during a segment there was a main event, but the main event segment was Vince McMahon and Bret Hart. We'll get to that eventually, but I thought that's when the Mike Tyson announcement was made. If it was made earlier, I totally did not see that.
All right. Well, I guess in the previous week we see Sheamus defeating John Cena, and then he comes out in this episode and he says that he's the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be, and then he'll take on anybody, and the person that stepped up is Evan Bourne. So we got Evan Bourne taking on Sheamus.
Evan Bourne. See, now, the big dog, Mitch Silver, not a fan of AEW. Sounds familiar in this chat room, I know. But we're all together watching one of those backyard wrestling shows. It was probably Double or Nothing. Actually, it probably was Double or Nothing. And they had that in the casino battle royal thing, where it's a surprise guest. Yep. And I honestly never paid attention to the rules or cared about what that match meant until this past year at All In, when Nigel made a comeback. Okada was in it, and it was just madness and crazy, and it was awesome. It was the best casino gauntlet battle royal I ever saw. But at the time, of this Double or Nothing, we're watching it, and like Mitch is boohooing everything, All of a sudden, here he comes! Oh my God, it's Matt Sydal, known as Evan Bourne in WWE. Yep. It's like, that's my guy, that's my dude, because he's a WWE guy. Here he comes, jumps on the top rope, he slips.
I remember that.
You're just like, ha ha. You're a professional WWE guy, just as liable for effing up like anyone else.
That's high risk, brother.
But yeah, here comes Evan Bourne, looking like.
A week or two, didn't he try to do a shooting star, and then he fucking slipped and hit the top rope again?
I think that was more Kidman than anyone else. But Kidman would always mess it up, man. Once he got heavy, he stopped being able to do it, and that's why Tori Wilson left him. So that's sad.
You got a wife like Tori. You got to keep up with her.
Got to be a Yankee Doodle Dandy. But yeah, here comes little Evan Bourne, and Evan Bourne was an up and coming superstar. His WWE career wouldn't pan out. His pro wrestling career wouldn't really pan out due to probably I wouldn't call them demons, but maybe apparitions in his life, just always holding Matt Sydal back from true greatness. But he had he did a great job here wrestling Sheamus, who I forgot was the WWE champion. So it was just a fine for what it was. A nice little showcase for Evan Bourne and Sheamus. And Sheamus just kind of, he said he was done with John Cena, which in WWE speak means I'm not done with John Cena. Yep. I think they would face off at the Royal Rumble, and that's when John would win the title back, but I forget. Yep. So that was that.
All right. Well, when we see Randy Orton with his legacy crew, Ted DiBiase and some guy named Cody Rhodes, and last week they had to win their match or they're going to be barred from the group. But this week, Randy Orton, if he loses to Kofi Kingston, he's out of legacy.
What?
Well, you know what our match is. We got Randy Orton taking on Kofi Kingston. John, how was that?
This was right at the tail end. I thought, Randy Orton already said, Kofi Kingston can't work, brother. Doesn't work for me. Because they had that big feud around the Survivor Series and Madison Square Garden and all that. And, since it was still a lingering hot feud, I think they were just going with it, even though they were probably, let's keep Kofi down a notch. And it was just, they do have chemistry, though. They work very well together, and they had a longer than you would expect kind of match. And Kofi goes for the Trouble in Paradise. Randy Orton blocks it and nails a bizarre-looking RKO, but a satisfying one, and pins Kofi Kingston, and he stares at Legacy for what seems like hours for some reason. And even earlier, there was a backstage segment. Randy Orton goes to Vince McMahon's locker room, knocks on his door, and says, Vince, if you call that Bret Hart later. And I guess this was right off, the previous year's WrestleMania, where Randy Orton, and Triple H went into each other's houses and that feud. So Mr. McMahon was not very friendly with Randy Orton, but he knew what Randy Orton's capable of. And Randy offered to kick the snot out of the Hitman, but Vince declined that offer. So he's like, there's one more legend for him to kill. But that was a previous backstage segment. But as for this match, it was a good match, and it would continue on it was the final wrestling match for the evening, and that would lead to the WrestleMania 3-way match: Cody, Ted DiBiase, and Randy Orton.
It's crazy.
Yes. Well, to end the show, was this a 2-hour or 3-hour show?
2 hours.
Okay.
It's got to be 2 hours.
All right.
Yes. Two.
Well, where everybody wanted to see Bret the Hitman Hart and Vince McMahon in the ring together, and this is how you close out the show.
Vince McMahon comes out to his music, and like I said, I think he's just out there. I do that when I have a wedgie. It works. Vince is out there, and allegedly he's out there to announce the next week's guest host, Iron Mike Tyson, which, if Vince really wanted to, he could play 6 Degrees of Separation with Mike Tyson and Bret the Hitman Hart. It's like, Bret, I couldn't pay you the $1 million for your 20-year contract, but I definitely could pay Mike Tyson, and that would lead to the boom period of the WWF. So they are connected. But Bret Hart would come out on his own, no music, and confront Vince, and Vince kind of, he's playing that role of, I'm still the boss, I'm still in charge, but you know what? Well, let's put your dad, Stu Hart, in the Hall of Fame this year. And Bret Hart seems to go along with it. Yeah, it's a good idea. They raise each other's hands and salute to the crowd. Bret Hart going from a fist to a and they parade around all 4 corners of the ring. And then Vince kicks him in the balls. And Vince scurries off, and Bret Hart no-sells it, really. And he's just doing a stare down with Vince, and that would lead to one of the most infamous programs in WrestleMania history, Bret Hart and Vince McMahon in a street fight at WrestleMania 26. But as for the show as a whole, I thought it was a very really good show. I thought everything worked really well. It was 2 hours. I really haven't sat down to watch a 3-hour Raw in many years, but watching this 2-hour Raw in a 90-minute on Peacock nature, I thought everything was really good. And we've watched a lot of old shows on this podcast, and it was not like any of those. It was just, I thought it was a really good show. Give it a big thumbs up. They really brought out their A game. If they're trying to combat TNA, they thought they did a good job. And honestly, at the time that the show was live, I chose TNA Impact over WWE that night, just for the record. Well, do I regret it? I guess we'll find out as the fellas review TNA Impact, January 4th, 2010.
That's right. This is my choice. I wanted to talk about this last year, but last year we went the Mick Foley route, the head-to-head between, everybody changed the channel. So, let's talk about TNA. And this is the best, actually, no, this is the most watched episode of all time. And that night, I tuned in. I watched TNA Impact just because to see, what the hell they're going to do. So, you had to, flip the channels. And, they hyped it up. It's all about the immortal Hulk Hogan. And, John's happy my man came back. John, you have the shirt?
Hogan I got the shirt. I got the shirt.
Everybody had the Hogan chain shirts on, and they were hot. And the show kicked off with a video package of TNA and who they were. And all the great ones joined TNA, and this is a new era because they're going against WWE on Monday night. And, yeah, we are in Orlando, Florida. We have Mike, Tenay, and Taz on commentary. And we kick off the show with a Steel Asylum match. What the hell is this big-ass red cage that looked like an elimination chamber? That shit looked crazy.
I don't know.
And
I don't know.
The match had Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Consequences Creed. You want to tell people who Consequences Creed is?
He is Xavier Woods from The New Day.
Yes. Homicide, Jay Lethal, Suicide, a lot of killers. Kiyoshi, however you say his name, and your X Division champion, Amazing Red.
Zelina Vega's cousin.
Yeah. Oh man. So I'm assuming this match you're supposed to climb out the circle to win.
Yeah, they said the only way to win this match is if you escape the cage. I'm like, okay, simple.
John, do you remember this match?
I do. I believe as they, as they're preparing for the show, this could be entirely made up, but I believe Hulk Hogan and Homicide were like talking to each other. He's like, "I like your name, brother, Homicide. It's a really cool name." and they were just talking about like how to win the match, and they're like, Homicide's, yeah, I can climb out of that thing. It's like, oh yeah, okay, well, we'll see it when it happens. And boy, did we!
Yeah, well, this match was like about 5 minutes long, and
had a good start to it.
Yeah, and then everybody's trying to climb out. It was weird. Then all of a sudden, Homicide pull out a police baton and start beating the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
Then he tries to escape, and everybody just happens to get up and climbs, and he just is outside the ring. The ref just stopped the match.
Yeah, because he used the baton, they called a DQ. I'm like, this is a steel cage match.
Exactly.
The only way to win is if you escape the cage and you call a DQ. I'm thinking right now, all right, you just pulled a WCW on me.
Yep.
Is Vince Russo in the back right now? Because bro, you gotta give him something to talk about. I'm just like, oh my God. I was about to change the channel right now. I'm like, what did I miss?
So you're telling me he did not climb out of the hole on this episode?
No.
Nobody climbed out the hole.
They DQ'd him. They stopped the match before he... The thing is, even after the DQ, he was trying to climb out.
Oh.
This is so WCW. I'm like...
Yeah.
No, wait. So was he trying to climb out of the hole? Because like...
He was trying to climb out, and he was struggling. This fat ass was struggling up there.
Okay. I was just... Okay, so maybe he didn't win the match, but I do remember Homicide struggling to get out of the freaking hole. That's all I remember.
Yes,
okay, it did happen then. All right, good.
Yeah,
I don't know who was playing Suicide at the time. It was either Frankie Kazarian or Daniels, but that dude was climbing up that ladder like nothing. That cage, sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, so after this, we get some like random music, and it's Jeff Hardy with a bad haircut. He's coming through the crowd, and he's, taunting, doing his Jeff Hardy gimmick. And he takes out Homicide, and after that, he climbs up the cage, and he just sits there, and he does one of them poses like that, and that was cool. It was a cool setting.
All I got to say is that chair shot, I don't recommend anybody doing that. Holy... Woo! Yeah, I probably stayed to watch Impact for that. I was like, damn. But nowadays, knowing what we know with concussions, don't try this at home, people.
Shoot, I still think about that chair shot he gave, Jeff Hardy, gave Brock Lesnar. Oof.
Was it Jeff or Matt?
Jeff.
One of them.
Jeff, because I said something to Jeff when I seen him. I was like, yo, that chair shot you gave Brock. I said, that was real. He's like, yep. But, Jeff, he didn't care. He's probably drunk at the time or high or some shit. Who knows? But, all right. Our next match, we have ODB taking on Tara. And this is for your Knockouts Championship. What you got there? What the hell is that?
Jeff Hardy.
Was that a towel?
No, I think it's a flag. Yeah, it is a flag.
Oh, well, that's dope.
That came in one of the crates a couple months ago.
Oh, that's dope. All right, well, our next match, Tara, who is your former Victoria, taking on ODB, and this is for your Knockouts Championship. And, damn, this is a short-ass match. Very short.
Very. Surprising for TNA, because TNA has always been proponent to give the ladies a chance before the whole give divas a chance situation in WWE. When I saw that, I was like, oh, they got something big planned for either the main event or something's not right. So
it was so short. ODB won by pulling the tights. Rolled up, pulled the tights, show a little ass, but on TNA app, they blocked it out. Couldn't see it.
Why did they do that? I don't. Is there like a thing where you could put like mature rating or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All his cheeks. You know how many times you're going to see Shawn Michaels' cheeks on Netflix?
Plenty of times. You can see this stocking stuffer.
The nutmegger, or whatever you call it. Nutter center. But after the match, Tara hit ODB with the Widow's Peak, and then she took out the tarantula and just placed it on ODB's stomach. I would have placed it on her titties and shit just popped right out, but you know.
I don't know what show the line came from, but I know it's from the Beautiful People. They're saying that's not the grossest thing that's been on her stomach.
I love those girls. I love those girls.
I don't know if you recall on Shop TNA, Jimmy J High Five, that ODB used to have a tank top, and I think this is when she was with Eric Young, and it had like that mold, almost like the Sable cupping mold on the tank top, and I tried to get my ex to wear it. I never bought it. I never bought it, but I was like, what if I got you this, would you wear it? And we'll leave that undisclosed. But
I met her too. I met her in New Orleans. ODB. Bam.
Very nice. Very nice lady.
All right, so backstage, we see a limo pull up, and everybody think it's Hulk Hogan, but it's the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo! Woo! Everyone greets him, and then we see him walk into AJ Styles' locker room.
Ooh.
And after this, we see Mick Foley trying to get himself inside the Impact Zone, but he's not allowed in the building. And then after this, you see Bobby Lashley in the ring with his former ex-wife, Crystal Marshall. Remember her, John? Well,
yep, I call her Fivehead.
Well, she's on the mic. Bobby just standing there all quiet and basically saying Bobby wants to pursue his MMA career and he's asking for his release.
Bye. I'm sorry. You're a great talent and you can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the ring, but your promos were just not there, brother. Not at that time, at least.
Why is he bald?
How long was he in TNA, this run?
I think it was only about a year.
I mean, he faced guys like Scott Steiner and Samoa Joe, so it was all right. He was the boss, Bobby Lashley.
The boss. Oh, my God.
CEO.
All right, so we have another backstage segment. We see the beautiful people. Velvet Sky.
Angelina Love.
No, that wasn't Angelina.
That was Angelina.
I thought that was Madison Rayne.
That was Madison Rayne on the left.
Yep. No, because this had some. This chick, she was like a dummy. I forgot. Who the hell
Yeah. That was Lacey Von Erich.
Lacey Von. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that was Lacey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they kick Angelina out of the group for a little bit?
Yes, and then she had amnesia, as my mom would say. Amnesia. Kind of like Timeless Tony Storm.
Well, they're trying to boost the ratings, so they decide they're going to play strip poker. And Lacey, she's a dummy. Yeah. Because, you know, you start poker, 2 cards. She said, give me 5.
She was also a mother of 1 at the time.
Was she?
She was. She's a knockout I'd like to friend.
All right, well, we see Scott Hall and Sean Waltman walking through the crowd, and they take a seat. So now's the time. Hulk Hogan, he makes his debut, and the crowd is live. Hogan had the black shirt on with all them crosses, and
skull.
The place was dope. The place was live. The Impact Zone was live, and Hogan kicks it off saying, "What up, TNA Maniacs?" And
I hope he warmed up before he went out there.
I know.
Come on, Bischoff, you want to do something too? Hulk, that doesn't do anything.
All right, well, Hogan said TNA is going to be the #1 company in the world. Then Nash and Pac try to get in the ring. And then, you know, they throw up the Too Sweet sign like they do. And Hogan said, this is not a party, brother. But Hogan said, you know, things are going to be changing. And right now he's all about business. No partying. Then all of a sudden, Kevin Nash says Hogan, he has a role, and Hogan cuts him off. He said, no, he's a partner. Him and Dixie's going to do what's best for TNA. I'm like, damn, this sounds like WCW all over again.
Yep.
Then Kevin Nash, when do you become so corporate? Then you say corporate, all of a sudden Eric Bischoff comes out, and he said that everyone in this company has to earn their position in this company. So for all you guys, put your boots on, and you're going to get in the back of the line, basically. And then Eric Bischoff called for the producer, give me the format of the show. He ripped it up. He said, this we're going to go by right now. And there you go. I'm like, damn, this is a long-ass promo. Just straight bullshit.
Yep.
That's all it was. Straight bullshit promo. I wonder what happened. So I'm assuming that's probably like the 9 o'clock hour. That's probably like your hour mark, or, close to your hour mark. So that's probably, what match would you say during Raw at that time?
That would probably be
The DX match, Jericho.
Because they kicked off with Bret. So, yeah, makes sense. So they waited to see when they, placed Bret and Shawn. All right, well, after this, we see Sting looking in the rafters, and Sting, he's been missing. Well, he's back now. And our next match is for the Knockouts Tag Team titles, and the champions is Sarita and Taylor Wilde, and they're taking on Awesome Kong and Hamada.
bless you.
While this match is taking place, they see the Motor City Machine Guns. They're laid out in the back. They don't say what happened. They don't say who did it. We don't find out this episode, but they were knocked out. But this was an interesting match. It was a fun match, and these girls, they tried their best to take out Awesome Kong, but it wasn't having it. Kong and Hamada win the tag titles. What do you think about this match?
Another short match that the girls didn't really get to shine the way I thought they would have. I think I've seen Taylor Wilde somewhere else. I just don't remember where. Maybe it was in TNA down the road when I was like scrolling through. But you know how I feel about Kong. I was like, when she gets in, it's all about her, and she's the real main event of the show. Well, at least this group. So I felt like whatever they were going for, especially with Hogan being champion. Well, he's being introduced into the company. You want to bring somebody that's gonna hold down the company for a little bit. You got to give a belt to Awesome Kong. She always was putting on good matches, especially with some of the girls, like smaller girls too. So she always would elevate anybody. So it was a good choice on that end. But I don't remember too much about TNA around this era because I stopped watching.
Well, after this, we see the beautiful people backstage sitting in their bras, getting ready to play another hand. Then we see a former WWE superstar come in, and Lacey says, hey, I know you. Aren't you? You can't say that right now. It don't matter who I am. We see Val Venus, Sean Morley, whatever you want to call him, and he's willing to play because he said anything for the ratings, and he just came out the shower, so all he has is his towel, and
He's only got one hand to lose, ladies.
yeah. Made no
I'm like,
damn
this-
sense. I'm like, oh,
You
here we go.
creepy son of a bitch.
All right, so we see Mick Foley again trying to get inside the building. He gets shut down again. Then we see that nasty tag team. We see Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sag. They trying to enter the same door as Mick Foley, and they get shut down too. Why is his hair green?
Because he's a nasty, nasty boy. Ah!
Oh, man.
King, I think they call that the pit stop.
Well, our next match, we have Desmond Wolfe. Platinum, you want to tell the people who Desmond Wolfe is?
He is AEW's #1 play-by-play guy, in my opinion. He is the Nigel McGuinness.
Yes, and he's taking on my man, the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro. You want to tell people who D'Angelo De Niro is?
Elijah Burke.
Yes, and Pope is pimping, player. And John, another short match. This match could have stole the show. It was another short match. The Pope wins with a small package. I'm like, Jesus, what the hell is going on here?
Caught me off guard. When I seen these two guys, I'm like, oh, right, this is a money match right here. You got a technical wizard in Desmond Wolfe, a.k.a. Nigel. and then you got Elijah Burke, freaking De Niro. It's just you can't go wrong with these two. But I guess TNA didn't have enough time for them on the slot. I mean, this could have been a pay-per-view match, in my opinion. Could have been at least 10, 15 minutes. Give them something. Give them some stakes. Like, you know, the winner goes for the number 1 contendership or something. I don't know. But he started off well. Desmond Wolfe, you know, working on the arm. And then towards the end, he just got rolled up, which caught me off guard, to be honest.
Yep. A quick match, and I was disappointed. But after this, we see AJ Styles backstage, and he said he's been here for 7 years, and he can't wait to see what Hulk Hogan's going to do to this place and turn it upside down. He said he can't wait to fight Kurt Angle this upcoming Sunday at the time at TNA Genesis to see who really is the best wrestler in the world. But we see Eric Bischoff. He comes into the locker room. He says he's happy to meet AJ Styles and that him and Angle are not going to be fighting at Genesis. The reason why, because they're going to be fighting tonight in your main events.
All I could say was I was thinking, are you sure you want to do that? You know what you did with Goldberg and Hulk Hogan. You put 2 guys like that, and you give away your main event. But, okay.
Hey, they brought up the big guns. They're doing everything. But I am curious to see what was the main event for Genesis for that, following Sunday. I'll look it up after. Unless, John, you want to look it up for me if you get a chance? TNA Genesis 2010. Let me know. But
My guess is that it's the same.
Is
match. It? My guess. I'll tell you in a moment.
But after this, we see Jeff Jarrett comes out. He said he founded TNA with his own hard-earned money, and that everyone said they want to last 6 weeks. They did. They want to last 6 months. They did. Now he's standing here on Monday night again, the greatest wrestling night of all time.
Sounds like us. They said we wouldn't last. We're still here.
We're still here, pal. About to be season 3 soon. Bitches.
Well, Dom, after a brief look at my Encyclopedia Britannica, I can tell you that the main event of TNA Genesis 2010 was indeed AJ Styles and Kurt Angle for the World Championship in a almost 30-minute match.
Did Kurt win this one?
No.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I should watch that shit.
Wow.
You might also want to check out in a singles match Desmond Wolfe and D'Angelo De Niro in at least 10-minute match at the pay-per-view.
Okay.
Hey, well, come on over. Let's watch some TNA. The matches we want to see, you're following up.
Yeah, you got to pay money for that. There's effective booking here.
Hey, did ODB and Tara fight again?
Well, I'll tell you, yes, they did.
Tell me the card. Tell me the whole card, actually.
All right. Okay, so TNA Genesis 2010, which I believe the DVD cover was a picture of Hulk Hogan's face with sunglasses, and inside the sunglasses was AJ and Kurt Angle, I believe, the DVD. But who watches DVDs? So on that pay-per-view that this show is hyping, the first match is Amazing Red and Brian Kendrick for the TNA X Division Championship. Okay. Sean Morley against the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels. Tara facing ODB in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the knockout title. Okay. Hernandez and Matt Morgan versus the British Invasion for the tag titles. Ooh. Desmond Wolfe and D'Angelo De Niro. And Beer Money versus Kevin Nash and the X-Pac. And your semi-main event, Mr. Anderson and Abyss. And your main event, AJ Styles and Kurt Angle for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
I'm definitely going to follow up. I'm definitely going to check out a few of those matches.
I feel like Randy and I convinced Randy to start buying TNA pay-per-views at the wrong time, of course, when they start sucking. But I believe this might have been one of them because we started watching TNA monthly after this. But
yeah, I'm definitely tune in. All right, so back to Jeff Jarrett. He said that he's partnering with Hogan and Dixie and that anything can and will happen in TNA. But Hogan comes out, he gets on the screen, and he said, basically, Jeff Jarrett, you ran this company to the ground. That's why he's in it with Dixie Carter to rebuild it because of you, TNA was the shits. Long story. And he said that nobody cares about all your accolades, Jeff. They don't care.
No.
Hogan said they restructured Jeff's contract, and he has to lace up his boots, too, and get in line with everybody else. It's a lot of promos. A lot of promos this damn show.
Too much.
But we got some good news. Mick Foley is finally in the building, and he's looking for Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan!
And at the same time, the Nasty Boys are still trying to get in. Then we see some dude named Bubba. We know who it is now. Bubba the Love Sponge. Say, hey, you know who these guys are? These are Hogan's boys. And he's just sneak. Go ahead. Go through the back door. You good. They snuck in. Terrible. For our next match, we have Samoa Joe taking on Abyss. And for its time, it was pretty good. It was a physical match. But Joe hit my man Abyss with a chair. Then he choked his ass out. I was surprised to see Abyss tap out. Very surprised.
Yeah, I was shocked too. I figured he'd probably just pass out, but he's always known to be a big monster. Just not known for submitting like that, especially taking so much pain, especially with the Monsters balls. All the times he's had
the Nutter balls.
I've never seen a Monsters ball match. I gotta look those up and see what it's all about. Like what the big hype is about that.
Sounds like a show for Wrestling That Made Us.
It might be.
Watch the very first Monsters ball. John, what was the very first Monster ball match? We're not talking about Halle Berry either.
Why not? You ever see someone naked and you're just disappointed? One of the first Monster Balls matches featured Jeff Hardy and Abyss, I believe. This is back in 2005. This is when Raven was still around, Rhino was still around. So I would start there if you're going to start watching Monster Balls matches. Start from the early days. I mean, by 2005, but I would start in 2005 if you're going to start those.
I got to make a note. Wrestling That Made Us, Abel, Monster Ball. Nutter's Ball.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, we see Crystal Marshall. She's backstage talking to Eric Bischoff, and she says she wanted a meeting with Hogan, and he said, you got to get a number and get it back in the line like everybody else does. Why the hell Lashley's not talking?
This is why. Man, this is why I'm disappointed in you, brother.
And
you are the star, not her.
Yeah, wasn't she one of them Diva Search competitors?
I believe so, yeah.
Because she never wrestled,
married to Teddy Long, player. No, was that her?
Was
it? Was it her?
That was her, yeah.
Oh, that was one of the girls that...
I know she was one of them reality show shits, but she didn't wrestle, right? She just... What was she? Just a pretty face, that was it? Was she on ECW?
She might have just been a Diva Search.
Remember this, guys. The person not named in one of Vince McMahon's settlements was a main roster talent who was then sent to Ohio Valley Wrestling, and then from that point, they left the company. Could it have been Crystal Marshall? No. So that answers that question. I have a guess, but...
Who's your guess?
It's Hemi-powered.
I know.
I mean, find me another one, but...
That's the only thing I can think of, too.
No wonder she was still smiling so much at TNA. You know how much money she got? Had more money than Bret Hart ever made in his first career in WWE.
Shit, the way he's making money now signing autographs, forget about it.
Darn tootin'.
All right, well, after this, we see the Nasty Boys looking for a locker room, and they see Team 3D's locker room. Team 3D's not there, because at this time, this is New Japan time, Wrestle Kingdom time. They trashed their locker room. They took spray paint, tagged D1's picture, threw the lockers down. Some dude brought some donuts. They threw the donuts. Said, where's the pizza and beer at? That's what I want. Matter of fact, I'll eat the donut anyway. All right, but main event time. Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles for the TNA Championship, and AJ Styles is your champ. And this is basically a dream match.
Yeah.
Because, I like Kurt. I told John this before. I told both y'all I want to do Kurt Angle's TNA run because his career was better in TNA.
Strap longer, actually, too.
Strap will say that, at least.
Yeah, from what I've gathered, he's had a better career and a longer career in TNA than he did in WWE. Even though most people remember him in WWE, his career is mostly synonymous with TNA, to be honest.
Maybe John one day will pick a year and we'll just cover Angle for the year or whatever.
Respect.
Maybe that 08 year when we first started, him and Samoa Joe.
Ooh.
Lockdown.
Yeah, we might have to talk about that. That was the year he won all the belts,
when
right?
he started? 07 he started in TNA?
I think 08.
November 06.
Really?
I think so.
No, because he...
Remember, he was part of the new ECW. And unlike the Wolverine, he didn't go crazy for it. Actually, he did go crazy for it. That's why he got fired.
Jesus.
He asked for his release.
Yeah.
Sure. He was a ticking time bomb. He was going to die at any moment in that era. And so Vince was like, I can't have you on my roster. You guys need to get help or leave. He left.
And then TNA, I'll take you. Go ahead. What you want to do?
Right. I'll take you too, Andrew Punisher Martin, a.k.a. Test.
Bring the blonde hair too.
No.
All right, so this main event match, it was a good-ass match. I enjoyed it until there was a masked man attacking AJ. I'm not sure who the masked man was, but they got rid of him. I thought Earl Hebner was going to just, DQ. I'm like, oh, no, don't do this.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm like, don't do this. But Angle fought the masked man off. He helped AJ up. They shook hands, and these guys, they had a gem. They had a gem of a match. If they didn't have that masked man interfering, I would give this shit 5 stars.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking too, because the way the match was going back and forth, good false finishes, good in and out, good technical skills with these two. Submissions, oh my God, you can't go wrong. And it's too bad we'll never get that dream match of seeing AJ versus Shawn Michaels, because that would have been the ultimate dream match of dream matches. But we got another one. We got Shawn and Kurt, so you can't go wrong with these two. Two of the greatest that ever laced their boots. So thumbs up, fellas.
Yep, Kurt. He kicked out the Styles Clash. AJ kicked out the Frog Splash, and they're just showing how AJ's still this damn good. Because I love that damn springboard floating DDT shit he be doing.
Oh my God, yeah.
He don't do it much now, but when
when
he does try to do it, it doesn't look like how clean he did it back in the day. Because he did that shit like all one motion.
Oh yeah, it's like he does it from the mid rope, does a backflip into a reverse DDT.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Phenomenal.
Kurt Angle with the super angle slam off the top rope. AJ kicks out. Angle kick out another Styles Clash, and it got to the point where he's setting him up for the Styles Clash, and Angle will reverse it and put him inside to the ankle lock. I'm like, oh, that's dope. That's dope right there. We see Ric Flair come out. He's just standing there watching this match, and we see AJ do the springboard 450 off the top rope. Kurt kicks out again. AJ with another Styles Clash, but he couldn't roll him over. Like, he was just, like, exhausted, like, physically tired. Like, all right, I can't do this anymore. Kurt's laid out. AJ gets up, hit him with the springboard 450 again. Match over. That was a good-ass match.
Yeah.
A good-ass match. John, relive that match. Rewatch that match. You would definitely like it. Do you know who the masked man was?
No.
My guess is Matt Morgan. From what I saw. Guy that tall, that athletic build.
Probably somebody from WWE. That's not Matt Morgan. But yeah, Hulk Hogan comes out and said that Angle and AJ are the two best wrestlers in the world. And all of a sudden somebody said that, hey, Mick Foley's in the building, so Hogan goes running in the back. We see Mick Foley inside Hogan's locker room. He's talking to Eric Bischoff, and Mick Foley basically said that he will never work for Eric Bischoff again. And Bischoff basically told him that you have no power and that you're done. And then all of a sudden, the NWO members, Hall, Nash, and X-Pac, they all came in. They beat up Mick Foley, laid his ass out. Then Hogan just comes in, takes his glasses off. Next you know, that's how the show ended. And then it said, TNA crossed the line. That was it. That's your finish. It was a good-ass show. Too many segments, like of showing Mick Foley trying to get in the damn building and whatnot.
I'm like, you're not Bobby the Brain Heenan right now. Stop it.
Yeah, they focused more on, you know, Hogan's boys, basically, than the younger generation. Yeah, we seen Samoa Joe and Abyss. They had, you know, decent amount of time.
Yeah.
But the knockouts really didn't shine. Besides that tag match. And
yeah, it was basically the Hogan show, like you said. It was all about Hogan. It wasn't, if you were a younger talent, you weren't going to get any shine like they said they were going to do. At least not in this show. They're saying they were trying to do the right thing, but, well, doesn't work for me, brother.
Well, the ratings are in. TNA drew a 1.5. And they average 2.20 million viewers.
Wow.
On the most watched Impact episode ever.
At that time or ever?
At that time. The previous high rating that they ever had was a 1.3. And that was toward around WrestleMania weekend at that time in 2010.
It's crazy. A 1.5 is still good in these days nowadays, but 1.5 at that time, it was really not much.
Bret Hart's,
if AEW were to hit that, that'd be great.
Bret Hart's return alone, 5.6 million viewers. The largest viewing since the Raw after SummerSlam on, 24th. And this show, they said they had a 3.3 that Raw did.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so good night to be a wrestling fan, and TNA, they made a mark, but obviously they didn't last long on Monday nights. John, how long did they last on Monday nights?
Not very long. I think they were only on Monday nights for maybe 2 more months, and then they picked another night and stuck with that for a while, and they decided to get out of the Impact Zone and did shows in various arenas, which they also did. I mean, I don't know if they did it then, sometime between then and because Hogan was around for I think until up till 2014, honestly. So 2010, 11, 12, and 13. Yeah. So he's there for a while.
So he's there the main event Mafia run and everything too.
Randy and I met him in Slammiversary 2013, so he was still around. And over those 3 years, they would try to tour, and they weren't drawing well, but they did nice shows, and it looked good, and it popped, but it just wasn't that successful. So it's a shame.
It's sad because it seems like no matter what, everybody's going to try to compete with the WWE. Sometimes it's not even worth it. Just do your own show. Maybe go with a smaller venue that looks bigger anyway, and then slowly grow it. You can't go from a big venue and then crawl down. Start small and go work your way up.
That's right.
I mean, I was a fan of this. Sometimes you just got to be very brazen and just go head to head. I was in favor of that, and sometimes you have to make fans make a choice. Just in this case, it did not work. So, I mean, there was lots of we're saying, oh, it's a shame that TNA wasn't successful, but their infrastructure was not made for success. So even if they were successful, they'd be like WCW successful. They would get away with it as far as they could, but their business culture was just not sustainable for the long future. That being said, they're still around and they're still kicking butt, but they had to go through extreme poverty to get there, and they're still struggling along. They could be clipped at any minute and no one would miss them, really. I'm teased as the Mr. TNA guy, but I myself have not followed them anywhere as closely as I used to since 2014. Since they did a series of tapings at what's in the news recently, the Manhattan Ballroom, the Hammerstein Ballroom. They had a series of TV tapings there. Bully Ray closed the storyline. He Bubba bombed Dixie Carter through a table after, and Dixie was never seen from again. And Hogan was fired on TV by Dixie Carter, but he really was fired. He never came back. And his next appearance would be at WrestleMania 30 at the Superdome. Wait, no, that's not right. No, it is right.
The Silver Dome.
It all comes together, the wrestling business being what it was. It's like, hey, I love TNA. They had great live events, like house shows. Had a lot of fun at those. Met a lot of pro wrestlers that way. I mean, look at that. I mean, they're not all of them are in the Hall of Fame, but look at that class. Like, met so many, the Dudley Boys, Ken Anderson, Kurt Angle, the Hardys, Jeff Hardy, Magnus, James Storm, Austin Aries, Hogan, Sting, all that one Slammiversary weekend, and that couldn't happen anywhere else.
No.
For such a decent price too.
TNA, cross the line. All right, well, we have to say both of these shows definitely matters. I enjoy it. Definitely review it. Watch that AJ and Kurt Angle if you get a chance.
On Impact Plus.
Impact Plus.
On Impact Plus.
Yes. Well, next week's show is Platino's Choice. We're taking it back to January 11th, 1993. We're going to talk about the debut of Monday Night Raw. Raw is going to be on Netflix, so we're going to take it back to the very first episode. I'm going to go through the card right quick. It's a quick show. This is back when Raw was only an hour, and
go ahead.
We're gonna
count off the matches, man. Go ahead.
All right, your opening match, we have Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji taking on Koko Beware.
Oof.
We have the Steiner brothers taking on the Executioners. John, who's the Executioners?
It would be Terry Bam Bam Gordy in 1996.
Well, this one is Dwayne Gill and Barry Hardy.
The missing Hardy brother.
Yep. Our next match is for the Intercontinental Championship. We have Shawn Michaels taking on Max Moon.
Who's Max Moon, baby?
And in your main event, we have The Undertaker taking on Damien Demento.
You didn't even answer me, baby. You don't even know who Max Moon is.
Max Moon is Conan, player.
Ashes to ashes and dust to dust.
Yep.
He didn't make it that far. That was Paul Diamond.
Oh, man. But, yeah, Undertaker's your main event.
The Undertaker.
4 matches. 1 show.
Didn't I get an autographed Damien Demento in one of those crates before, too?
Throw that in the trash if you did.
Unless someone hates you.
Oh, I think it was Dom. He was pissed.
Yeah, it was something.
There was this independent wrestler. Her name was Tara Calloway. Independent lady wrestler, Tara Calloway. And, I was into watching these women's wrestling revolution shows around the Rhode Island area. And, I liked her. So I bought some merch. She had a sale, bought some autographed 8x10s. And inside the box, without anyone asking or wanting it, were autographed photos of who I learned was her boyfriend, Jeff Cannonball. Talk about an autograph I did not want or care for. So, Damien Demento, you've got some competition in that market, my friend. As an aside, folks.
Oh, boy.
That's it. All right, fellas, it's been a good show. John, shut us down.
Well, this is the It Doesn't Matter podcast. We, as Don mentioned, we will be approaching starting our 3rd year. Can you imagine that? They said it wouldn't last. Well, we've got the hymns in myself, Papi Plano, and the notorious one, Dom. Boom. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Boom.